name is Nick. I will be your host, your MC for the program here. So welcome everyone. And speaking of speakers, let us introduce them. So first of all, who's this guy? My name is Nick Salvatoriello. I just go by Nick Sal. I'm a seasoned B2B partnerships and customer marketing leader with a passion for meeting facilitation and community building. I have been in the HubSpot ecosystem and a HubSpot user for many, many years. I'm pretty hardcore about it. I worked at HubSpot for many years. Sam Mallikarjunan and I worked together during that time. We were some of the first few hundred employees at HubSpot. I had worked on HubSpot Academy, one of the founding members of that team at HubSpot, and led the inbound certification, created the partner certification. So we love to train and educate customers and users like yourselves. I spoke at Inbound multiple times and have worked at HubSpot solutions partners. And through that time, I got to know SmartBug here, the hosts of this webinar series. And I was honored when they approached me to MC this important series for the HubSpot community. And a big thanks to SmartBug's VP of Marketing, Paul Schmidt, and the Director of Marketing, Nikki Kamal, who's on the line as our series producer today, for collaborating with me and all the speakers helping put this together. It's going to be a great show. We want to make sure it's super valuable for all of you folks who want to do better using AI in sales. And who are we going to be hearing from today, folks? Let me tell you about this sweet lineup. From HubSpot, Will Hughes. He's a senior product manager at HubSpot. He leads the charge in building AI-powered solutions that help sales teams work faster, smarter, and more efficiently. I think we could all use some of that, right? He's at the core of HubSpot's Sales Hub innovation. He's bringing intelligent features and agentic tools from concept into the hands of real reps in the field. Juicy. So whether it's simplifying prospecting, streamlining our outreach, or embedding AI directly into our sales workflows, Will and his team are driving that vision behind the tools that are changing how we sell. And he's here today live to give us a peek behind the curtain, talk about what's here, tell us how we can find out what's coming, and how we can make the most of all of that. So thank you so much. Please give a warm welcome. Hit those reaction emojis there on Zoom, and let's give a warm welcome to Will Hughes. Thanks for joining us today, Will.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the discussion.
Awesome, and glad that him and his team are cranking away on some features for this new product spotlight that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And we got to steal them for a little while just to take some questions with you folks and talk about what they're working on. So it's going to be exciting. Next up, you're going to hear from my friend, Sam Mallikarjunan. He's a seasoned growth strategist, entrepreneur. He is the general manager of Agent.AI. Sam has an impressive track record if you don't know him already. He was one of the co-founders of OneScreen.ai, a marketplace for out-of-home advertising. He also was leading growth at HubSpot Labs. And I already mentioned Sam and I have worked together, so it's great to have the band back together. And he served as chief revenue officer at Flock.com. So he knows about owning revenue, needing to drive revenue using tools to get it done. He also knows a lot about teaching and instructing and helping you like he will today. He's a former Harvard instructor. He's a LinkedIn learning instructor. One of the most popular courses on LinkedIn right now is his course all about introduction to AI and how you can utilize it in your business. He's a co-author of a book, a bestseller, Inbound Commerce, How to Sell Better Than Amazon. So he's got deep expertise in AI, marketing, sales, business strategy. And Sam, like I said, is here live to tell you how AI is shaping the future of sales. So let's give a warm welcome to my friend, Sam Mallikarjunan. Thanks for joining us, Sam.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Look at that. You're getting a heart emoji from me, my friend. Excited to have you here. You gave a fire performance and discussion the last session that we had all around marketing, and you blew our minds with some of the things that are possible for agents that can be made. So I can't wait for us to dive into that from a sales standpoint. Next up, we have our two smart bugs, two great subject matter experts who are all about the world of AI. First up, I want to say hello to Mathieu Grandmaître. He is an AI solutions architect at SmartBug Media. Matthew's a specialist in integrating AI with HubSpot to optimize marketing, yes, but sales and customer success, which we'll hear about in our next session. Helping businesses harness AI for automation, demand generation, and revenue growth. He's in the trenches helping clients do this, helping customers like yourself do this. So today at SmartBug's Agentic AI event for sales episode in this series, he'll break down how to leverage AI for smarter, faster, and more effective prospect engagement. So let's give a warm welcome all the way up there in Montreal to Mathieu Grandmaître. Welcome, Mathieu. Are you excited?
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour, good sir.
Good to see you.
Yes. And are you excited for your second appearance here, your second helping talking to folks about AI, this time in sales?
Yes. Honestly,
Cool.
It's great to be here again.
Cool.
I'm excited.
And your colleague joining us also up on the screen, he has been in the wings of this entire series. I've enjoyed getting to know him, but he's taking the stage live, especially for this particular topic around sales. Let's welcome Aaron Lyles. Aaron is a seasoned marketing and sales strategist with over 18 years of experience in driving demand and revenue growth through innovation, analytics, and tech-forward strategy, of course. He is a published author himself. He wrote the Marketer's Manual on Generative AI, Harness AI to Lead, Innovate, and Profit in Business. It's a hands-on guide for marketer and sales folks to stay ahead in today's AI-driven world. So we're excited to have him here. He brings a unique blend of marketing analytics, multimedia content production, lean process optimization expertise to the conversation. So he's passionate about helping businesses unlock real growth through AI-powered transformation. And today he's here sharing the stage with Mathieu for that final part to share how marketers and sales teams can move from this AI curiosity, dabbling in it like so many of us are doing, to actual AI impact. So let's give a warm welcome to Aaron. Thanks so much for joining us and preparing some great content for us today, Aaron.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
Oh man, these folks are champing at the bit. We've practiced, we've run through this thing, we've customized it, personalized it based on your feedback. And I did want to point that out. We are always taking your feedback. That's why it's so important for you to answer our polls, fill out our surveys, jump into chat and stuff like that. We want to learn and iterate. We want to learn from you and iterate every single time. So we're very excited to hear from these folks, but let's take a step back and sort of set the stage. What are some trends that we are seeing out there right now that make this topic, that make you being here so important and so timely today? First of all, and let's look to HubSpot, who's been following this, of course, for many, many years. First up, sales professionals utilizing AI tools save over 2 hours daily, allowing more focus on selling activity. If any of you folks have been in sales, and I certainly have at multiple organizations when I was selling for other HubSpot solutions partners, your time is money. You know, you are doing selling hours. You got to make the most of every single one of those hours. If you could have a tool that gives you 2 more hours of selling in your day, that could be absolutely transformational. Give me an amen in the chat if you agree. Let's look at another trend that's also informing why we're here today and why we put this on. HubSpot shows us that 70% of sales professionals using AI are using AI for prospect outreach, and they're reporting higher response rates. So the vast majority of reps are doing it, and they see that it's working. The ones that we're talking to, and we're going to hear from HubSpot, Agent.AI, and from SmartBug about how you, if you're not part of that 70% yet, how you can be, and make sure you're getting the same types of impact. Thirdly, we see from Salesforce that sales teams that are using AI are 1.3 times more likely to see revenue growth compared to those not leveraging AI. So if you value your time, if you value getting outreach to prospects and productivity, if you value output, outcomes, more revenue, we got to be listening up. This is the right place. And if you have somebody from your sales organization who's not here, you need to be taking notes. You need to be letting them know about the URL, getting them to register so they can get the recording, perhaps. But those are the big trends here, folks. And that's what we're seeing. That's what the reports are showing us. What we'd like to do is now poll you all, let you folks weigh in on the conversation, because we want you weighing in this entire time. We're here for you. We want to personalize everything that we're doing today around you. So here comes the poll right now. You should see it in front of you. It's a 2-question poll, folks. Thanks everybody for answering that poll. Speakers, take note of what you heard there, what I just covered, and let's move into our first exciting conversation here with Will Hughes. As I told you, senior product manager at HubSpot. And first question to you, Will. Thank you again for being willing to open up to us. But from your perspective, just at a high level, how is AI reshaping the sales landscape today? You must talk to a lot of users, a lot of potential users about this, and internal team members. What's your perspective on how this is reshaping things?
Yeah, totally. Thanks again for having me. Love talking about this stuff. It's, changing pretty much day to day, if not like minute to minute, as new models are coming out, new features. So love staying plugged in. At a high level, what I see a lot of is just sales organizations making the move from becoming very reactive and instinctual. So, the classic, oh, we have a fish on the line, someone visited our website, let's immediately reach out to them and react to that. Or the instinctual, hey, it feels like our best sequences are when we send each touch spaced out 3 days apart. Like that sort of feels right. Let's go with it. And for a long time, sales has been that way. And now with the inclusion of AI, you see that sales can truly become more of a predictive, analytical, and data-driven process. And a lot of teams are using AI to help upskill their reps and help them not only like understand, okay, you have all this data in your CRM, all these opportunities, where do you spend your calories? Like, where is your ROI? But they'll also help you understand the who, the what, and the how. Like, what is my messaging going to look like? How do we, how do we incorporate all of the data points we're seeing, all the personalization? So I see generally like a move there. And then I think just also at the more kind of rep AE level, sales used to be a lot about having a diligent process. So, everyone loves talking to customers. That's the thing that, people make their money off of. But it used to be a lot of, have that checklist of follow-ups after the meeting, don't make sure you don't drop anything. Make sure you follow up with everybody. Oh, you bring in that new manager that someone mentioned needs to be brought along if you're going to close the deal. All these sort of plates that you're spinning. And we used to ask of our reps sort of, hey, can you be kind of your own project manager in addition to, selling and like getting on calls and demoing and closing deals? Now with AI, we're able to automate a tremendous amount of that administrative sort of boring work that you're not hiring a sales skill set to do. So just a general, like way more time being spent on sort of selling on the parts that salespeople are uniquely sort of built to serve. And then finally, I think, going down a little level, it's the junior reps, the new grads. Formerly, particularly if you're selling B2B or like an account-based process or something more sophisticated, you need to do a ton of upskilling for those new reps. You got to teach them, how do you research a company? How do you look for pain points and opportunities? How do you lean into what we solve? There's a point where you're like kind of asking for this market research skill set that, probably if this person had unlocked, they may be in a different career. So it's the other aspect of it is I think it's allowing junior reps to really step into these more complicated processes and like just get a lot better at sort of gleaning insights from data.
I love it already here, folks. Just the perspective and the sound bites we're getting from Will, having talked to so many practitioners like yourselves and your leadership about how this can help you. And I can relate so much, Will, to what you're talking about. How if you're a busy sales rep chasing 15 or 16 opportunities at a time, you're a project manager now. All of a sudden, like you have to be all about that. The new reps, you got to do the market research and stuff. Different skill sets that you didn't even think was part of a job like this. So true. And we're hearing Mathieu already chiming in from SmartBug saying, please, folks, automate those soul-sucking tasks as much as possible. So awesome. So we know what's at stake here, Will, where the pain is. So when you look at features that are already out that are making a lot of noise right now in the HubSpot ecosystem, things like AI-powered deal scoring, pipeline intelligence, able for people to do smarter analysis. Those reps can be slightly data analysts and stuff like that nowadays. So how do these features in like kind of the real world, when you talk to users, enhance a sales team's ability to prioritize and close deals in HubSpot?
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of talking. I'd love to show you if I can share my screen.
Please do. Are we going to get ourselves a little bit of a live demo here, folks? Buckle up. This is always fun. Yes, we'd love to. And Will is going to walk us through now, folks. Keep the questions and comments coming.
Awesome. So some of you may recognize this as Sales Hub users. It's what we call the sales workspace, which is basically for your reps, your AEs. Let's give them a one-stop shop where, again, they can focus on what is the most important thing for me to do right now? Where do I spend my calories? What is the work that I prioritize? And how do I move quickly and, not have to spend all this extra brain bandwidth thinking about what are the things I have to follow up with? What are the tasks? What are these little admin processes? So for deal score, as you mentioned, Nick, something I think we realize HubSpot has built a lot of scoring capability. We have a really sophisticated scoring tool out right now in Marketing Hub, but not all sales teams want that. Again, sort of matching of skill sets. Not every sales team is up to build a scoring model, let alone maintain it over time. And often the answers you're looking at are pretty they're pretty like findable, answerable questions of how's our activity going on this deal? Are there any risks that we're hearing in calls or meetings? Like these are very findable things. They're things that your sales team is certainly hearing. They're just sort of spread throughout documents, meeting notes, calls, what have you. And it's very hard to jizz that up and sort of get a summary of it where you need it. So this is our out-of-the-box AI deal score. So what it enables you to do is just without setting up a model, without having to worry about, maintaining the model, we are going to give you your own. We're going to look at things like how many times, and also please excuse that my this deal data is randomly generated, so I did not pick Tesla. Also, that my scores are pretty bad. I think I would be a terminated salesperson at this point. But it's looking at the how much time is it spent in the stage? What's our current probability? Also how far are we past close date? How many recent activities are we seeing? So this very high level metric on sort of how is this deal progressing? How likely do we think it is to close? And then this can really help reps, focus where the money is. Okay, if you have a deal that's right on the 5-yard line, go there, put your efforts there. If you have one that's, hanging out at maybe one of my 7s, I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. That might be too far gone. Or there are, material things I can do to improve it. And we don't just stop there. We also give you, again, these further insights that we're dredging up with AI from your meetings, from your calls, from all of this information you're taking in. So here you can see I could go bring up, oh, what are recent meetings that we had? I want to go dive into these and kind of understand, or I want to be able to ask Copilot a question about these meetings, like what happened. Also, risk factors. So we can tell you things about how our deal score is trending. What have we noticed recently? Why has it closed? Can also pull up interesting things like if a risk factor has been brought up recently or taken as a note, we'll judge that up. And then finally, again, the part I mentioned earlier, company research. Often when you're getting on a call, when you're trying to understand sort of momentum on a deal, you need to understand the recent signals that company is exhibiting. So being able to easily access those signals, also something we know is really important and we want to make available to you.
And that was actually a follow-on question we had, Will, which you're kind of addressing right now, is how conversation intelligence is a term of art for sales reps that's very big right now. How can what you're just talking about here, looking at summaries of past conversations, looking at tips that are right by your side as a rep when you're calling on or messaging out to a rep, how can these features be leveraged? You're just alluding to it, but if you want to go on, that's what we wanted to talk about next.
Oh, totally. I think a great example is the prepping for the meeting and the follow-up. That's one of the most sort of have to grab all your information, get it together. Maybe you're in back-to-back calls and you have a 10-minute block to scramble for this stuff. It's intense. It's not something you want to be doing. You want to be focusing on your pitch. So again, we're HubSpot. We have all the data. We're trying to point you where your time will matter most. So here it knows I have a meeting coming up, and it'll bring that to the top of my feed and say, hey, Will, you got to prepare for this meeting. Okay, so it dumps me in here. And now with AI and again, conversational intelligence, I can begin to, prep my brain for this meeting to understand this company. So, hey, let's research it. I want to know about our recent deals. We can pull that up and I could follow up with messages saying, hey, I want to learn more about this contact. Did we recently reach out to Billy, the CEO? What's he at right now? Similarly, you can just get high-level summarizations of the data you're seeing on the company record or contacts. Or one of my favorites is just catching up on recent conversations and just sort of understanding what kind of conversation am I going into here. I actually use this to prep for meetings myself. Sometimes internally, it's a sick tool. Yeah, so I love this for entering your meeting with firepower.
As somebody who has used Sales Hub, the CRM, and this type of functionality for a while, Will, this is just absolutely mind-blowing because what you're describing is absolutely true as a user. Prior to this, I would have to be skimming through those past meetings with waning minutes to go. Okay, quickly, what I got, what can I quickly see? To have somebody already do that proactively for me, saying, I already scanned it, this is what you need to know in a nutshell, a huge time saver.
Exactly. And then we know there's a flip side of this, right? You get out of the meeting, again, maybe you have another back-to-back, you have all these plates you're spinning of, oh, I got to reach out to this guy. They brought this up. And naturally, you drop one or two. You don't remember all of these minute tasks. So we're going to help you there too. We're going to follow up with, hey, you should follow up with this person on the call. You mentioned that you would reach back out to them with pricing or something like that. So we're going to be able to bring that to you. Or, hey, you never, admins, we love sales reps listing their meeting outcomes, following up what happened. That's clean data that enables us to do better forecasting and projection. We'll bring that up here too. So again, those helpful nudges to make sure that the prospecting experience is pretty much on rails for your reps and AEs.
Fantastic. And we got a question here from Amanda, who was very fascinated to see that next activity. Where does that pull from? How does it get that? Is that just already looking at meetings booked or tasks set, or how does it come up with the next activity bit?
Yeah, exactly. It would be the next activity that you have scheduled for the people in this meeting or this company.
Excellent. So we're answering your questions live here, folks, and anything we can't answer, if it's too like feature specific, we will note it and get back to you, even if it's like a ticket type situation or whatever. So love that you asked that question, Amanda, while we have Will here just for a few more minutes. So Will, thank you so much for showing us here. We're getting under the hood. And now if you talked about how you can sort of prioritize who you're going to be tackling on a given day. You're showing us how it can prepare you for the communication to personalize that and have a better chance of connecting and converting from there. What about the email aspect of this that you started to allude to? So if somebody goes to email to follow up from a meeting, to set up a meeting with the next prospect, how does HubSpot's AI-powered email assistant enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of us reps doing outreach in HubSpot?
Definitely. This one is my favorite. Totally not biased as the PM of this.
No,
but
of course not.
The prospecting agent basically enables you to do exactly as you said. How do you scale your prospecting outreach? How do you, experiment with a new ICP that maybe you're like, this feels high fit, but it's really low intent. I don't want to spend human resources there. How can you use this agent as a way to scale your team into new markets? Was sort of our initial goal here. So if we go up to the agent and I'll pop into a portal with better data here, I can enroll either contacts directly to the agent. So if I have say I have a list of people I just met with at a webinar, there was some initial feelers, I kind of want to nurture them. I can throw them to the agent and the agent will either operate in semi-autonomous mode. So if I want to review every email the agent writes before it sends it out, I can do that. Or autonomous, where I just hand it off, it writes 3 emails, it says, hey, here's what they're going to look like, and then it'll send those off on a recurring cadence. So we allow sort of both of these modes. And you may be thinking to yourself, like, how does it write good email? Like, how does it write something that actually sounds personalized? So the good news is, again, we're HubSpot. So we see all of the CRM activity that's going on, all the past communications we have. So we won't make you sound like you've never heard of this person or make an awkward first touch. And we allow you to tell us, like, what are the things that are interesting? Like, what is it about your company? So this is my demo portal. I call it like Horizon Solutions. I pretend to sell like an AI executive assistant. And I've given them a ton of juicy info to the agent to be able to sell my product. So it knows, hey, this is the product I sell. Here's our value proposition we tend to lean into. Here's like popular pain points that I would emphasize, just the things that you would teach a rep.
Right.
Also,
this can
like,
come
what
right out of
product-
like battle cards or product marketing material that reps are getting anyways.
Exactly. And it's, they don't have to pull those up. They don't need to like remember, oh, does this apply to this person? Oh, how do I like tie this pain point to this persona? Like, is it relevant to them? We got you covered. We'll enable you to also say like, hey, here are the industries we commonly sell to. These are all just data points that the agent can use to personalize your email and write a rock solid first touch. And then we'll also let you drive to different CTAs. So most often, a lot of our, what are they trying to do? A lot of our customers, they're trying to book meetings. And that's like one of the most valuable things you can do with an agent, is just bring in instant pipeline without doing anything. So it'll drive to your meeting link. It can drive to a document. Like I have a demo deck here. It'll do that. It can even drive to a URL if you have like a specific page or form that you want to go to. And then you can also do things with email guidance alongside the length that we're doing, the voice you want it to talk in. Like we provide you a lot of sort of ability to really throw your context at the agent and get it talking in a more personal voice.
It's just amazing to watch here, Will. And I hope folks on the line, you're taking note here because I don't know about you, but I have not been blessed in my multiple years of sales of having someone who could do this type of email work for me. So if that person did not exist, they didn't have budget for it, it wasn't a culture of having BDRs versus sales execs or account execs or whatever, you're on your own. And Will talked about some of those kind of like less promising leads that you might need to follow up with. I think we've all been there. Your manager goes, don't leave any stone unturned. You got to go manually email all those people. And you end up doing, some sort of generic batch thing that's really suboptimal. Like what we're seeing here is for far less time than you would ever, a fraction of the time to onboard and orient someone to be a BDR to help you. You can get this agent be doing it on time, on message, on voice, on best practices every time. And even with auditable ability for you to go, all right, let me see the emails first. That's good. Send it. That's good. Send it, or just say, I don't care, do the right thing and send it. It's just powerful. And the CTAs, I love that too, Will, because there's really only those 3 CTAs. Book a meeting, take a look at this document, or go to this website page and do something. That's it, gang. So I just, you can't not use this thing. I feel like. And this is all, just to clarify for everybody, functionality that is available in HubSpot Sales Hub. They have to make sure they're a Sales Hub customer to do some of the things we're looking at here.
Yes, this is available with Sales Hub Pro. And to answer, I saw a question from Jeanette about, are these prospecting agents set up by the super admin and or reps? So this is my chance to do a plug for the speaking I'm doing next week. If you're
Please.
interested in rep experience, I would definitely plug into Spring Spotlight. That's my cheeky way of avoiding that question for now. But for super admins, that's who we have setting up the agent today. So ultimately, that's the one who can run through this setup, give them sort of all this information and configure it.
Sweet, folks. So I'm going to double plug what Will just alluded to there. The Spring Spotlight, all will be made plain, all will be revealed. There's going to be some fireworks there to be sure. And yes, Jeanette, we're going to get you the link to that Spring Spotlight in chat ASAP. And also we'll be plugging it in the email, the follow-up email to you to be sure. So Will, this is very exciting. And we're seeing there's so much functionality. And, I'm getting fired up about it. The attendees are getting fired up about it. But obviously, it's easier said than done sometimes for those of us who just need to go through and adopt it. What is something that you have either shown us or not shown us yet that is right available to all of us Sales Hub Pro and above users that's just underutilized you find today? It's chronically underutilized given like the impact it can have today, right now.
Super glad you asked. So with the agent, what people, and I'll hop back into my Succession demo portal here. A lot of people think of it in terms of manual enrollment. They think I'm going to rock up to the agent and I'm going to say, hey, go after these companies and these contacts. Hey, go after this list of contacts. And I think where a lot of the power is in workflows and automation. And there's two sides to that. With this thing works in workflows. You can enroll, you can do advanced scoring, do if-then logic, whatever you've built in workflows, and then enroll to the agent. So we do see a lot of customers scoring prospects as they come in, saying, okay, is this a human level? Like this is, a really big fish on the line. We want to just get them to a human, or hey, maybe it's something, a little bit more out of our ICP. Let's try and hand it to the agent to triage. And we even make this very easy for you to do outside of or within the app. So these are our out-of-the-box workflows because, again, we know not everyone is down to start mucking about in the workflows automation platform. So we try and give these to you out of the box. So simply, hey, when a form is submitted on my site, I just want that contact to go to the prospecting agent. I want the prospecting agent to handle that first touch. So my reps can focus more further down the pipe. Or even as aggressive as when someone, a page on my site is viewed, I want to instantly enroll to the prospecting agent. Then, of course, criteria based as well. So things like re-engagement has been a really good case for the prospecting agent. You don't always want to be the sales rep following up again and again and again. Sometimes you want to hand it off to someone. So the prospecting agent is great for that. And then, list membership as well, as that is such a popular tool at HubSpot Lists. We wanted to plug into that.
Got it. We love HubSpot lists, smart lists, static lists, the whole deal. So, Will, you just shown us it would be a crime, frankly, in sales not to be utilizing these features that your company is already paying for, and yet you're saying they are chronically unutilized. So let's arm some of the champions and the people who are a fan of what we're trying to do here. I assume people who come to this session, we're already converted, but we know that our leadership might not be. And you've probably talked to a lot of users and their managers, Will. What are some common misconceptions you've heard from your user research and stuff like that from sales leaders about adopting AI in sales? And how have you addressed them on those conversations? Can you arm us with some sound bites to bring back to our sales leadership after today to help them see, this is good. We should try this, what you're saying here. And what are the common misconceptions standing in the way of adopting this? And how do we address them?
Yeah, totally. So a thing I see, a question I hear a lot, particularly from sales leaders when they're apprehensive of adopting an agentic outreach tool is, aren't I going to sound the same as everyone else? Isn't it if I'm using, your thing and your model and the competitor next door is using that, isn't it the same model? We're just going to end up having very similar messaging and I'm, the cat's out of the bag. I'm going to be I'm using an agent. I'm doing bad personalization, which is, a really bad taste to put in your prospect's mouth. So there's a lot of apprehension of just, is the personalization going to be good enough? And what I say is the personalization is as good as the data you give it. So again, if you go back, if you go back here, again, like a ton of information, and I could keep going. Like I could keep just writing into these things, copy and pasting docs, and it's definitely something we'll be looking to support more of. But more information directly to the agent, super, super helpful. So your docs in HubSpot, having more activity in HubSpot, also really, really well. So, as good as the data is as good as the personalization will be. Not to say that we're totally reliant on that. We're scraping the web, we're reaching out, we're going to like bolster and reinforce whatever data you have. But generally, the more you give, the more you get.
No doubt. So not only is it giving, quality data in terms of like the contact data or the company data, but also just feeding the system contextual data about the type of thing you're selling, the type of sales process you're trying to run, and the type of language or the tone and voice that you'd like to have your brand and your team have when you use it. Fantastic. So just a couple more questions for you as we round out here, Will, would be, is there any particular stage of the pipeline then? So the sales leader says, okay, I hear you, let's pilot some of this functionality. Is there a particular stage that you might have people focus on? Prospecting, pipeline management after, mid deal cycle, or the closing area? Is there a particular area of the life cycle that AI is probably best primed, especially for people who are piloting this internally?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot about the beginning of the funnel because, it's not often the case. It would be awesome if you were like, I have so many deals that like my team is spread thin. Pretty amazing problem to have. You're probably solving that by hiring more AEs and making more revenue.
Right.
But I think a lot of teams can empathize with, I know there's more out there. Like, I know there's this ICP that's really, really interesting to us. I know that there's like gold in those hills, but it's really expensive for me to send a human after those leads. Like start gathering data on that ICP, start seeing if we can, get some penetration and pipeline in there. Again, the agent, the cost is like, next to nothing effectively to be testing these people out, to be getting these contacts in, enrolling them to the agent, enrolling these companies, and just poking and prodding at new and adjacent ICPs. So I think a lot about, bringing the AI juice to that top of your funnel so you can generate more deals and book more meetings.
When you say it, it makes so much sense, Will. You're right, because it's first of all the toughest, sometimes like the toughest part of a rep, some of the part that you look forward to the least. It's some of this more like discretionary time that keeps getting pushed on your calendar in name of like attending, live meetings you already have booked or working on moving deals forward that you've already worked, and it suffers, and then it catches up to you. Those of us who've been on sales teams know that, and it's a hard ship to turn at the last minute. So I think getting a great system and flow, like I've never had a documented sort of if this then that type of flow for following up, putting it into a smart agent afterwards, like Will just showed us. It's going to be a game changer for prospecting. Might make prospecting something you look forward to happening more of in your sales team from an emphasis standpoint. So folks, last chance to ask Will some questions that you might still have that you want to ask HubSpot before we got to release them back to the product team and they can keep crunching some code over there and shipping us some new features. But while we see if the audience has any other questions for you, Will, you alluded to this a little bit. What's the best sort of listening post for people who are eager to find out what's next, what's coming in the areas that you've just talked about? Where can they best go? Where would you like them to check out to get the reveal on the latest and greatest once it's ready?
I would keep an eye on, again, that spotlight page as it comes out. Like keep an eye on our product updates. Like we're going to be shipping a lot. So stay plugged into those, make sure and also our product updates up in the top right-hand corner of your HubSpot portal. Not a lot of people use that, or a lot of people do. Not everyone knows about it. We really maintain those. So taking a peek in there, seeing what's coming and what's just arrived, I think is a really good way to stay on top of things.
Okay, the product update alert area, folks, upper right-hand corner of HubSpot. Love that. Been there for a minute. And then also making sure you keep your eyes out for that spotlight session is going to be fantastic. So, Will, thank you so much for joining us here. Once again, let's give another round of emojis and sort of like virtual high fives for Will here, because he just brought some real fire in terms of features that have just never been available before until now for us HubSpot users and sales. It's just awesome how HubSpot keeps us at the cutting edge. This is awesome. So thanks again, Will, for your time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Really excited to see what y'all do with your agents.
So am I, frankly. And folks, we want to pass it back to you now. You've done a bunch of good listening. Folks are saying thanks, in the chat and everything like that. Love to see that. So we want to ask you again, your turn, folks, your current AI usage. How are you currently using AI in your sales process, if at all? Please let us know that first question. And then a follow on to that is whether you're using it a bunch, or you haven't used it at all, what do you find, number two, is your biggest barrier to adopting AI in sales today, adopting more of it, or even just getting started with it? If your answer was not using it at all, just exploring. Let us know in the chat, because we want to learn from you. We want to meet you where you're at with content, with solutions, things of this nature. So please let us know what you or your team is facing in terms of barriers to adopting today. I'm sure Will also would be a little bit curious as well. And so if we lose him before we can aggregate the results, we'll make sure you get the data points. But feel free to chime in, folks. We'll give you 5 more seconds on this. It's just clicking a couple of boxes here. 5, 4, 3. Make your voices heard. 2, 1. And let's see what we got here from the team, from the attendees for our results. Okay. Pleased to see, and I'm sure Will is as well, that people are using AI in sales. That's good. And we're getting a little bit of a split between cold outreach emails. That's smart. Lead research qualification. Saw some great features just now for that. Call summaries for coaching and insights. Also very powerful. There's like a whole sub industry of point solutions around call summaries, and you've got that out of the box, part of your subscription with HubSpot. It's fantastic. And then yes, some of you folks are not using AI yet. And again, you're in the right place. Start soaking this up. Find some of the low-hanging fruit, the quick win features and ideas and focus areas that Will talked about. And then looking at the things that you all are saying are barriers to you, not enough time to implement something new. Maybe we can think about that. Speakers who are coming up and how we can address that. Lack of understanding among leadership or even yourselves as to what's possible. A third of you said that. Skepticism about ROI. We've heard a lot about that in the news about AI in general, maybe perhaps overhyped in some people's minds. So maybe we can think about speakers coming up, how to address that. Tools feel too complex or disconnected from the workflow. Hopefully Will showed you how HubSpot has worked very hard to make this part of your workflow. And you'll hear from Sam and from the folks at SmartBug how their solutions that they're touting also can fit into your workflow. So listen up for that. And here the last one, not my call. Leadership just isn't bought in yet. And once again, folks, we are wrapped around you to help you make that case, whether it's some material from SmartBug, some content from HubSpot, this recording, what have you, but we want to help you get that buy-in. That's cool. Will says, hot take. I think you can set up our agent and get a contact enrolled in under 5 minutes. It's like, does your team have 5 minutes? I'm not trying to say to you folks, but whoever's skeptical or doesn't have the time, it's like, why don't we just try this for 5 minutes? Why don't we pilot this? Why don't we send this to somebody in-house and just to see what the experience is like from them, get their feedback? There's practically no excuse for us not to do it. I get it though, that we all have to make our time. So thank you everybody for weighing in. It really helps us all feel like a real conversation, and we really want to learn from you here. So thank you again for weighing in. And with that being said, we will again thank you, Will, and the HubSpot team for joining us. And we're going to bring on our next subject matter expert. He's back for a second helping, for an encore, folks. Sam Mallikarjunan. He's super passionate about where AI and agentic AI in general is taking us in the market today. And he's going to showcase how AI agents, which you can get access to, whether you're a HubSpot customer or not, on Agent.AI, can help you optimize your prospecting and follow-ups even further. Building on top of what you just saw from Will and from HubSpot, these agents can provide more niche or bespoke support to you and be extensions of your team. So thanks for coming back here, Sam, as we dive into this next area, this next chapter of agentic AI helping people across the lifecycle.
Thanks for having me. 15 years and you and I are still doing talking about what's new. It seems like what's new never stops. There's always something.
It's what's news never stops, and we're a couple of guys that enjoy following what's new and evangelizing it and helping empower other people to get our hands on it. I guess it looks like we're in the right respective lines of business here, Sam. I love it. So, Sam, I know Agent AI. Some folks here on the line do as well, but can we back it up a little bit and give us the elevator pitch? What is this? We know that it's been backed by co-founder of HubSpot, Dharmesh Shah. There are features and agents and tools that HubSpot users could use, but it's also for HubSpot non-users as well. What is your pitch to the world, especially with some folks from the HubSpot ecosystem here wondering how this fits in?
Yeah, so we're not part of HubSpot. I describe us as strategically adjacent to HubSpot. They're very good friends, and almost my entire team are former HubSpot executives. Agent AI has 2 purposes. One is we didn't want to live in a world where only large companies with big budgets and technical expertise could be part of the AI future. So there's a free AI agent builder in there. It always has access to all the latest models. And so you can build or customize an agent for exactly what you want it to do. I think something like 25,000 agents have already been built on the site. by like 22,000 different builders. Only about 1,500 are public. So a lot of people, most people actually build agents that are kind of just for themselves. For the majority, because we got 1.5 million users, only 22,000 have built agents. For everybody else, it's can we solve the discoverability and usability problem? So we want you to be able to build, customize, discover, and use AI agents seamlessly. And we don't want cost or tech stack or technical skill to be an impediment. Like if you can use the HubSpot workflows tool, or realistically, you can just think logically about how you want,
Right.
the task to approach, just, like you're talking to an intern, you can go build your own agent. So that is the pitch: is you want to discover what other people are doing. We don't want it to be limited to just like the large enterprises and what they're building. And then you can go build your own. You can customize it and say, I don't just want LinkedIn prospecting agent. I want a LinkedIn prospecting agent for executive recruiters in Scotland.
Which you mentioned on our last session. That's a real thing. Like there are
It's a
some
real thing.
really bespoke agents, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
I did a podcast interview, and the woman, like, that was her job, and she went out afterwards. She's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Because if you just use something generic or like ChatGPT or something like that, you're not going to get results that you love. The more focused you can make an AI agent, the better the output is going to be, which is the real power of being able to customize something for yourself.
So we know there's over 1 million users on Agent.AI right now. You had mentioned there in a previous session, there's over 10,000 agents that have been made, 1,000 of which are public for any one of us to download and use. And any one of us can go on and make our own private agent just for ourselves to try out and choose if we want to make it public or just keep it to ourselves. Maybe like Kirk over here, that's fine. But speaking of focusing down, you mentioned, Sam, what would be your favorite or the most easy to adopt agentic AI and sales use case and or agent that you've seen recently you'd like to draw people's attention to if they want to check it out?
Yeah, so this is why I love sales reps. Like I started my career in sales training, for T-Mobile way back in the day. Sales reps are always the first to adopt things. They were our earliest users, because they're always optimizing. They're always looking for an edge. So like one thing is just like take the stuff you're doing anyways that you hate. So Will had a great line earlier, right, where he's like, nobody got into the sales job because we like doing data entry and maintaining CRM records. Right. It's
So
like the
true.
stuff that you hate, automate that. Give yourself new capabilities. So like what's brilliant about AI is, the sales team can now create their own decks. They can do their own research. You can draft your own articles. Like I used to write articles for HubSpot sales employees as that sales rep, just to like give them a little extra, credibility when they're reaching out to a prospect. Now you can do that yourself. You don't even need the marketing team. But my favorite way is to help understand different perspectives and help to be a more empathetic communicator. So, for example, like listen, our lives were easy at HubSpot, right? Because we were literally marketers marketing to marketers about marketing. I once sent an email that said, I know that you know that I know that you opened that email and didn't click the link, right? So, but most people don't have that, uh, where you are like the customer that you're trying to sell to. Being able to say to AI, like, pretend you're this persona and have a synthetic prospect and say, like, how are you going to react to my email? How are you going to react to this pitch? Like, I think that is my favorite thing. Where can you use AI to be more empathetic? Can you use it to communicate better? You and I were talking about G2, old friend of ours from HubSpot, and you were asking him how did he become, such a great sales rep. He said, I just started calling the leads from Europe nobody else would talk to. Guess
That's
what?
right.
This AI, this GPT, the T in GPT stands for transformer. That was built for translation, right? There's nothing stopping. That was the original intent of all this. It just turns out that it's really good at a bunch of other things. But there's nothing stopping any sales rep from listening to this being like, huh, why don't I start calling all of those leads from Lithuania that we get that like never get rotated to anybody because I can have an assistant. And then the other thing I love is, and frankly, what got me into this, is what does the future look like for us when AI is doing so much stuff?
Yes.
And in particular, if we automate all the junior sales reps' tasks, where do the senior sales reps of tomorrow come from? And again, I was very depressed about AI probably 18 months ago, and I've become like much more optimistic. I actually think now it's going to be net very good for the world. But like, it's hard to replace a sales rep. It's easy to replace a prospect. And so there's a bunch of tools doing this, or you can go build your own AI agent to do it, where you can train it like, here's your prospect, here's my product, here's my competitors, whatever, give it that data, and then give yourself the chance to practice. Because we don't do, the sales coaching and stuff, right? Is one, we all like don't necessarily love it. I know you did, but
Yeah.
not everybody loves doing like the role playing and stuff like that. So being able to do that at scale, but also you lose money as a company, as a sales manager, when you have to give leads to a junior rep so that they can learn that you might have closed if you gave it to a more senior rep. Now you don't necessarily have to make that choice. You can give leads to the reps who are ready for it and upskill yourself faster. And if your company hasn't already gotten a sales like practice tool for you, go build one yourself. That's what I love about sales reps. Like their desire or propensity to ask for permission to do things is the lowest of any professional in any given organization. And that's why they tend to be at the cutting edge of everything.
That's true. And actually, in the process of you answering this question, you sort of addressed another one we wanted to ask, which is how would you address that elephant in the room of reps who think that AI is coming for their jobs? And you just addressed that. How it'll help them actually practice better. It'll help them not waste leads. Look at the better quality leads. We heard from Will how actually you could basically get your own BDR and automatically be a sales executive in terms of like the parts of the sales process that you handle versus other things that are sort of automated and teed up for you. So I think that you made a great case for that. What I wanted to ask you next is how does this change? You talked a little bit about this, but how does it change for sales reps versus managers? And can you talk about either certain agents that Agent.AI has that you might know of that a sales manager might be interested in using versus a sales rep? And then this wild card here, like perhaps even an agent that a company could set up that would help their prospects, let alone their own sales team.
Yeah, so that's fascinating. Starting from kind of the least important person to the most important person, the manager has a relatively low ratio, right? Like you're managing, usually somewhere between 5 and maybe like 20 or 25 people, and so it's not as much value for you because you can have that kind of like solid relationship and context and understanding. I think the big thing is coaching. There's all these great insight tools. That's fantastic. I mean, these tools that are building that. But how do you help someone learn? How do you help someone practice? How do you help them grow as a professional? Because your job is to make sure that they hit quota, and your job is also to make sure that they are growing. It's not just the commission that they're staying with you. They're staying with you because if I spend another year as a sales rep working for Nick, it's going to grow my value more than if I just like take another job for some 15% raise.
Darn Skippy.
Yeah, exactly. So for managers, like it's all about coaching and teaching. Like, can you have it, educate your sales reps, have them practice. For the reps, one, it's like, again, automating all those tasks. But two, having more effective and empathetic outreach, like being able to do pre-research. I don't use this for sales, but every morning I have an agent that I built, and I'm not technical, by the way. I haven't written code that anybody's used in 20 years. But I have an agent that I built that every morning just looks at my calendar, uh, does some enrichment using, I think it's Breeze actually by HubSpot, finds their LinkedIn profile, finds news about their company, and generates an audio overview for me. So when I go for my 10-minute walk every morning, I get to listen to 10 minutes of like, here's who you're meeting this day. Here's what you should talk to them about. Here's stuff that you have in common. Like here's, their style preferences it can infer. Like that is an amazing thing to be able to prep. You and I both remember HubSpot used to have a sales pitch called the inbound marketing consultation. And being honest, it was a sales qualifying call pretending to be a free consulting call. And hopefully we can share the YouTube video of you. We literally had customers who would email us they would email the CEO thanking us for giving them a sales pitch. Like, how often does that happen in your life that somebody does that? The reason we stopped doing it is because it wasn't scalable. But now it's scalable again, right? Every sales rep can have this really deep interaction with prospects. You can know a lot about them. You can have kind of your own. Everybody calls every AI tool Copilot, but like I know like HubSpot has one, Microsoft has one, but you can have your own Copilot that's sitting there like doing the research, helping you understand them. And
we do have
also,
that video. We can show it in a moment.
I think it's great. But then also like being able to learn, like what if you could learn from the best sales rep, right? Like we did this when we were consulting for HubSpot before we launched Agent.AI. We ingested something like 300,000 hours of recorded HubSpot sales calls, so that we knew like what are the questions and answers. What questions is this prospect likely to ask, and what's the best way to answer that question for that prospect to maximize the chances that you're going to close. Something interesting. The reps that we were like kind of playing on this with, the value they found was being able to steer people to ask those questions. It's not just being prepped, right? It's like what questions they may not have thought of that if you can get them to ask and then give them an answer, you have a high probability of closing. That's awesome. And then for the prospect, I mean, the most important person in the room, right? It's why we're here. They pay the salaries. My favorite business quote, probably my favorite, from Jeff Bezos. When they added negative reviews to the website, Amazon, his investor said, Jeff, I know you think the internet's going to be big, but you don't know how to run a business. You make money when you sell things. Why would you put negative reviews on the site? And he said, I don't make money when I sell things. I make money when I help people make purchase decisions.
Hello.
And that has been a guiding principle for me my entire career. How do you help somebody if you have a good product, like you just need to help somebody make a good decision, and helping them like understand, maybe they don't want to talk to a sales rep right now, but can you have that experience anyways? Can you translate it into other languages? Or my favorite thing is, let's just pretend I'm a HubSpot sales rep. I've convinced the CMO, right, that HubSpot's good. How do I explain it to the CFO? How do I explain it to the VP of sales? How do I explain it to like the CEO or everybody else that's kind of involved in this? And empowering your prospect, especially when you're doing B2B sales, to be able to, then have that kind of internal champion approach. I think that is really beautiful. So like, is there a world in which a lot of the boring stuff that we hate, like we spend so much time on sales calls with the wrong freaking people. A lot of that stuff is going to be solved for like, I've got a buying agent, you've got a selling agent. And somebody asked me the other day, they're like, oh, is it just gonna be my buying agent talking to your selling agent? It's like, yeah, that's not a bad thing. That means that you only have to spend time on conversations that are worth a human having a conversation with another human. And that's what we all want. The things we hate about our jobs are talking to people who aren't a good fit or didn't want to talk to us. Let AI handle that and let us coach the rest of the people, help them make good decisions.
A bold vision that's just around the corner that Sam Mallikarjunan is casting for us here, folks. And Sam, you had called out, you wanted to show folks this video that back when you and I were working at HubSpot together, I volunteered to be the actor in this video and the narrator of it. But as Sam, as you had said earlier, this was based on a actual email that a prospect of ours wrote to our CEO after one of these sales reps who had to be highly trained, highly compensated, tons of enablement. They had to be this sort of diamond in the rough that we would go recruit and find and get them to be this good. They could produce an experience like you're about to see the video dramatically act out that the prospect emailed the CEO about, the experience we provided. But what Sam has been saying for the last couple of minutes, folks, is this video could be remade today, describing an experience that reps like any of us, would-be reps, sometime reps or whatever, could produce using generative AI, insight AI, conversation, personalization, and so on. This is far more in reach and far more scalably in reach for any organization than it ever was in this sort of like, this happened so rarely, I guess I'm saying, is that yet we make a video about it. Now this type of thing, what it's describing, I think you'll find it's a little bit humorous, is like, this is what's possible today with the agents. So with that, is that proper context here, Sam, is why you want to show this? And it's just a funny, humorous break with me on it. Yeah, from back in the day.
Sales reps have always had like a low bar. Like our goal is to not get fired. I think that, AI will definitely help with that. But I think having such a good experience that your CEO, people email your CEO, talk about how great you are, that's next level. That's the future.
Let's take a humorous trip back in time to also see what's possible now today, these types of experiences. We'll run the video. Hopefully the audio works.
I have to say I have rarely or never found myself in a sales process such as the one I had dealing with HubSpot. Let me explain. I found and downloaded one of your ebooks. And when I saw you asking for my phone number, I knew I was in for a headache. Lo and behold, within a couple of days, one of your people, Steve, called me up and asked if I had any questions about what I'd read. He also said he had taken a look at my site and had some tips he wanted to give me. Brian, I'm a smart guy. I knew what that meant. He wanted to get me on the phone and sell me some software. But at this point, I still had a small voice in my head that said, I'll talk, get the info, but I won't ever spend money on HubSpot. It's not for businesses like mine. When Steve called to give me his tips, I kept waiting for the pitch. I kept waiting for that moment to ask for my credit card. Instead, what I got was a 30-minute conversation on how inbound marketing has changed my industry around me, and I didn't even know it. He actually did give me tips on how to improve our marketing. He didn't even ask for any money. Damn it! I knew how to say no to a sales pitch, but not to someone being helpful. Steve was honest. persistent, and looking to serve. I felt it. I felt like I was in great hands. At the end of the call, I asked him if we could set up another time so I could get a demo of HubSpot. And you know what? Whether I end up buying HubSpot or not, talking with Steve was a great use of my time. And you know what? I regret not answering Steve's calls earlier. Thanks again. Hey, Brian, you did it. Jason.
Oh, a little spicy there at the end, folks. But I think that last line is really the takeaway is we want to create an experience using the tools that Sam and HubSpot and our leaders from SmartBug are talking about to make customers look forward to these messages for a change, to make them regret that they didn't interact with them sooner because they know that we're being thoughtful and using best of breed technology. It's awesome. Well, thanks for everybody bearing with us on that video. It is humorous. It's a good example of what's possible now today at scale. So appreciate that. And then Sam, there was a question here from the audience that was very interested in that, yes, I'm glad you pulled that up, Nikki, just plugging the workshop that's coming up. But the question was that, describe my day for me agent you talked about. What is the name of that agent? Because there's some folks here on the line that definitely want to go look that up and try that out.
Yeah, I actually haven't made it public yet. That's one that I built for myself. Again, of the 25,000 agents on the site, only 1,500 people have shared publicly. I think that'll change. I think people will share it more. But the way I built it was, again, just thinking methodically. I wanted to look at my calendar, so it's connected to Google Calendar. It pulls the email addresses of everybody that I'm meeting. It then enriches that email address using Breeze Intelligence. I think I want to add something else as well to get more data. That it says, cool, like here's their LinkedIn profile. Here's information about them. I had Perplexity go find news about their company. And then I take all that text and then I feed it into OpenAI's latest model and say, like, here's all the people that I'm meeting today. It knows me and it knows my company and stuff like that, which is important because otherwise it'll tell me things that aren't relevant, right? Like I don't care if you're the great cricket match coming up or something like that. That happened to me earlier today. I'm like, I have nothing to add to this conversation because I don't know how cricket is played. And then I use, I think it's 11 Labs. I use 11 Labs to turn the text that OpenAI generates into audio. I get an email every morning with a link to download an MP3 file. I download that. I listen to it on my walk. So it's just about thinking methodically and then understanding like what tools you can use. And if you have, by the way, like if you, the last 5 years have very much been about me no longer worrying about whether something is possible. Almost everything that I've come up with that would be cool is possible. It's just a question of has anybody done it yet?
Right.
So if you can think about like, here's what I wish would happen, and you can define that. You can say like, here are the steps that would make that happen, especially if it's something you would do as a person, right? Like I have an EA, her name's Reshaping, who has automated almost all of her job, which is great for her because she can now go. I think she's working with our BD team. She's working on like customer support. She's able to like learn and grow. Which I think everybody's worried about is that like you're going to automate your job and then get replaced. The truth is that your job's going to get automated eventually anyways. You want to be the one to do it and help yourself grow faster.
Mm-hmm.
But that like I could have, she would normally look at my calendar, create a brief and everything else like that. I guess I could have had her narrate it. But instead, like I could have the AI do that. Because I was able to say like, here's how a human would do it. Like they would go look at this person, they'd find their LinkedIn, they'd find data about their company, and they'd synthesize it based on what they know about me. If you can describe the job to a human, you can describe the job to an AI, you can build your own agent.
And for those folks who just heard what Sam described and you're saying to yourself, like, I don't necessarily have that same mindset, Sam, or like what you said, like I lost track of some of it. Please just know we have another slide coming up here about Sam's team is teaming up with the SmartBug team. And they're putting on a workshop for you folks at the end of this month that you definitely want to bookmark because it is as easy as what Sam described. But like many of us, myself included, we don't have the muscle memory for it yet. We haven't actually done it. And the last thing that you just said, Sam, I think is so very real for me as well. It's just like, is it really possible? We've read about it. We've heard about it. But there's a part of our brain that's like, yeah, but you've got to keep doing what you've been doing. That we don't have time to play around here because it's unbelievable, the paradigm shift that has happened. So hear from a member of Mike's team, also former HubSpotter. We all work together, Mike Redboard, teaming up with our co-producer, executive producer on the line here, Nikki Kamau, has been running slides, running chat, put this whole thing together. She's coming on. with Mike Redboard from Agent AI end of this month, Sam. That's going to be a good chance for everybody to dip their toes in here and set up an agent, eh?
Yeah, if I could have everybody just take one takeaway, right? Like, we know how to deal with change. I hate when people use the Industrial Revolution as an example because that took a century to happen and it didn't happen everywhere at once. And even digital transformation, you had like 20 years to catch up to that before not having a CRM and stuff was a competitive disadvantage. This is moving much faster. If it feels overwhelming, it's because it freaking is. Like, I'm paid to study this for a living and I can barely keep up. What that is an opportunity, because I promise you that you feel behind. Everybody feels behind. Even the thought leaders on LinkedIn and stuff like that who pretend they don't feel behind. Everybody constantly feels behind, and you're not as far behind everybody because everything's so new. It's all moving so fast that, like, the most advanced AI person on the planet in terms of how to actually use this to make money at your job is maybe like 2 weeks ahead of you in terms of learning. So you feel behind because of people like me like talking, and that's why I like reminding everybody that you're not actually as far behind as you feel like you are. The big most important thing is to take the step to, like, say you want to go learn. Like, you remember, Nick, like, we used to have to convince people that search engines have to explain what a search engine was and convince people that it was going to matter before we could sell them SEO software. And social media, like blogging, was something your nephew did on LiveJournal, not something like a serious business did. And it was the people who had that cognitive leap earliest who got the most advantage out of inbound marketing. Same thing's going to be for AI. So, like, you can't really screw anything up, right? Like, it's not going to launch missiles. We don't do that with AI. Definitely not an agent AI. So go in and make mistakes and learn.
And you've talked about, Sam, how you can run these things for your own personal benefit. So the only person who has to see whether it works or doesn't, is it useful, is it not, is you. These agents that you make can be kept private, not shared with anybody. You don't have to worry about putting your name next to something that somebody else is going to adopt and use. We heard Will talk about how this will help you train. Sam, you talked about this as well. You can actually send an email to the agent and have it give you feedback. This is going to help you hedge your bets. This is going to help you not get shot down if you could adopt some of this. So, folks, again, 4:30, April 30th, 11 a.m. Eastern is your biggest chance to have these folks, the best in the business here from Agent AI and SmartBug, help you through this, some of your first steps. Or bring your skeptical team, bring your excited team who wants to get some impact out of this. So we got a question here from Jake, and then we have to just move on for the sake of time, but I'm glad you're asking here, audience. Sam, to you, just throwing this out here. How do you democratize sales reps to create agents for themselves without them getting derailed by, what's AI, and is this going to drive ROI, stuff like that? Like, we love the idea of empowering reps, but Jake's just a little bit concerned that reps might lose traction, lose attention, or just, go after shiny thing syndrome.
Yeah, it is addictive. I've caught myself doing that. Like, I'll spend 3 hours working on an AI to do something when I probably just could have done it myself in 30 minutes. It's easier with sales reps usually than it is with other parts of the organization, because we all know that we are self-regulating line items, right? Like, we either contribute what we're expected to the company, or we disappear off the company's expense sheet. So I would say that's going to happen on occasion. I think it's a coaching issue. Being able to, like, help people and have an open conversation. I think one of the biggest challenges, and we saw the same thing when we were launching sales tools back in the day at HubSpot. One of the biggest challenges is nobody wants to talk about the tools that they're using. And I think having that proactive culture, like, what are you doing with AI? Like, talk to me about it. I think the visibility issue is the most important thing, because you don't want to find out that they've been going down the rabbit hole with AI and wasting their time when you fire them because they've missed, like, quota 3 months in a row. I think it is, it's easier to incentivize sales reps because they are straightforward, right? It's harder to know whether a marketer is wasting their time, at least as fast. But the big thing is, you got to make the fact that you're using AI and how you're using AI not a dirty secret that everybody on your team wants to keep if you want to build that culture. I would very much elevate those stories and, like, call those people out as an example to follow.
Yep. And I'll just round it out with what you're saying, Sam, back to Jake and others, is get 1 or 2 reps to try it out first. And then once they have the story to tell, then you can start bringing it out there. So if you're worried about the whole team getting sort of lost in the shuffle or getting sucked into the intellectual swamp of what's possible, maybe just get a couple folks who have been known to be scrappy, savvy, bottom line focused, pretty disciplined, like Sam's talking about, and let those be your first adopters and then your greatest evangelists, and they can teach the rest, like, this is how you do it. Don't bother with this. Or this is how the agent's set up. Yeah.
You're probably already doing it. So just make sure that you find those people and say, like, hey, you're probably already doing something with AI. Let's teach the rest of the team how to use it too.
We're getting some gratitude from Jake for us addressing this head on. We appreciate you asking, Jake. Honestly, that's really what we really wanted. What SmartBug really wanted us to get out of today was to address you folks directly, our the clients, the folks in the community. So speaking of which, we want to launch a poll here now. We just heard from Sam. Really inspiring stuff about what's possible. So, and Sam's also trying to think of new ideas for agents that his community can build. So we're asking you, if AI could solve one problem for your sales team, what do you wish it would be? What is on your wish list? We here at SmartBug and Agent.AI and the folks over at HubSpot will take note. Let's weigh in. What do you wish you could get an agent, a feature set, or what have you to help your sales team? Where is the greatest need or opportunity? Let us know by picking out a bubble here, and we'll give you just another 5 seconds to do it or so. It's just a click, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll close it out in a moment here. Hopefully everybody's chimed in. We got a decent amount. You were able to read fast, and we'll see what the audience has weighed in. We're seeing over and above cold outreach, emails. I hear you folks entirely. 44% of you said that. It's a big pain as a rep, and it's an area where you can do it poorly. It seems too templatized or whatever it is. Personalization token didn't work or what have you. And then we're also seeing identifying and surfacing best fit leads. I can so relate. Those are the top two, no question about it. Prospecting and getting the word out. Maybe these will be good fit leads, I don't know. And it's a pain in the butt to prospect at scale. And then now I've got a bunch of things in my pipeline. Who do I focus on next? Who do I give a little extra love today to? Great point there. 25% of you said identifying and surfacing best fit leads, another big point. So thank you folks for weighing in. Way interactive here. We've increased the interaction even from last time. I love that we're building on that trend. So thank you everybody for sharing that out. What we'd like to do is to take you to our final session, which is really the juiciest session. We're going to actually get detailed here. Nikki, I believe we may have another poll. Is that right, that we're launching before we get in? Or sorry to ask you live here, but are we doing one more poll? We're going to go to Mathieu and Aaron now.
That last slide was we'll send you a link for you all to go over to Agent.AI.
Yes.
That's an agent that we've built on Agent.AI, and it kind of takes you through a quiz, if you will, on where you are in your AI journey. And it's a V1. We've already had 193 tasks completed, and it was just launched like a day ago. So I've got a lot of feedback, and we'll be launching a V2 that's got even better results and more information for you in there.
She's right, folks. I took it myself this morning. It took me a grand total of about 45 to 50 seconds to complete. And Nikki, you built that yourself, a mere marketing mortal like the rest of us, right? You don't code for a living. You don't build AI agents for a living.
Yep, exactly. I actually learned how to do it on the workshop that we are now collaborating with Agent.AI on. We got to experience it internally at SmartBug first. And so that was how I learned how to use Agent.AI, and that's how I built it.
You can't make this stuff up, folks. The people at SmartBug have done the research. They've gone and gotten the knowledge, and they're applying it. They're walking the walk for you all to follow. That's so HubSpotty. That is the inbound way. Lead from the front. We go first, and then you can follow based on the best practices. So speaking of a couple of SmartBugs who are also leading from the front, really getting hands-on, they are building custom agents and custom solutions for clients today. We have Mathieu Grandmaître and Aaron Lyles here on the line. Gentlemen, welcome to the final portion where we finally tie all this together, all the hype, the screenshots, the demos, and so on. How does it actually practically get done? And what are you folks at SmartBug helping people to implement so they get an AI-driven experience that's perfect for them, their prospects, their sales teams?
Absolutely. Welcome. Yeah. Thank you for having us, Nick. And yeah, excited. And I do want to also point out that, like Nikki was just, was just mentioning the workshop. That workshop is fire. You guys need to definitely check that out. We'll be sharing that link. But I had been tinkering in it from I think pretty soon after they launched, and learned a few things that I wasn't even aware of that it could do on that workshop. So yeah, super cool. So yeah, we can go ahead and just jump in here.
By all means.
Yeah. So so let's just talk about the marketer in the room, because we're all here to learn about agentic AI and sales. Why do we have this marketing guy talking at us? I know we're kind of known for some gobbledygook every now and then. I've got plenty of gobbledygook to share, but who let that guy in the room? And frankly, I'm blaming it all on Nick. Anyway, those who know me, the reason I'm in here. And I'm on this call today is if for no other reason, because I'm extremely, extremely passionate about sales. And I'm so passionate about sales because exactly, let's face it, nothing happens in sales until a sale happens. So this statement, nothing happens until a sale happens. This concept is why almost nearly 20 years ago, I first went into sales, and because of its prominence and importance. And it's so maybe not so much of a dirty secret that so I've worked in sales, I've been in B2B, I've worked in B2C, and I've led in-house sales, as was mentioned, and I've also been a sales strategist here at SmartBug, and I've been fortunate to engage with a lot of different dynamics in different environments, sales environments. And so the point is I get it, right? Like I get the day-to-day, and which is exactly how I got into marketing, right? Because I'm in sales, and I'm years ago, and I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I make this easier? How do I make prospecting easier? How do I make that outbound, like we just saw in that poll? How do we make that more effective? How do we make it more efficient? How do I find who I should be responding to and calling on? And how do I keep the pipeline moving? And what I ended up doing was discovering a whole number of different tactics and tools that were ultimately what I discovered were called marketing, which makes sense because marketing's purpose is to make sales happen, right? By making the sales process more effective and efficient. And so the point of all of this is just to kind of anchor us here on this idea that we got this entire function of marketing, that the entire reason it even exists really is to elevate and support the sales process, or the sales function, if you will. And that's just how vital sales is. We got this entire other function that's just like an extension of it, really. So all the branding and all the logos and the flyers and all that all ties back to helping the sales process be more effective and efficient, which is exactly why I'm so excited, and we're so excited here at SmartBug about the power and potential of agentic AI. Because the promise of AI is that it's going to make the sales process happen much more effectively and much more efficiently. And we've heard a lot here from Will, we've heard from Sam, and we've heard a lot of great examples about how that's going to happen. And what we're going to be sharing with you here in a moment is we're going to show you a few demos of some custom applications that will hopefully highlight and get the wheels turning for you in terms of how the sales process is going to transform in just various industries and various markets. So in fact, the agentic AI is already transforming sales industries and markets, as we've heard. I think that last point Sam made is really, really, really important. It is moving. There's so much hype about the speed, and it's real easy for a marketer to come on and tell you that, because we're kind of known for, we got a reputation for hype, but it really is moving so fast. And it's not just in our industry or in our functions, it's across the board. It's going to transform humanity. But again, also all the more reasons, the people who are on this call, you've made a really smart decision in trying to just carve out time to focus on how it's transforming things. On this slide right here, what you can see is we see e-commerce, retail goods, health and wellness, legal, government, and this is by no means comprehensive, but try to put a representative spectrum of kind of different sales dynamics that to just give you an idea of where we're seeing things change and where we're already starting to do some like custom applications as well. And the custom applications that Mathieu is going to be sharing with you here in a moment. Everything we have on this screen, you should see an example of how it ties back to one of these areas or an adjacent area. And if you don't, then definitely drop a comment in the drop a question or a comment to us, and we'll explore that with you. So what is it transforming in sales? We talk about, very high level. We saw some really great examples of that with HubSpot, and Sam's talked to this. And of course, we saw where the pain points are. And this is just going to, again, tie back with Mathieu here in a moment. Is going to do some demonstrations for us. The demonstrations that we have carved out here are designed, again, to kind of illustrate how they're all examples of how you can improve the technology we're using, how you can improve these different areas here that you see on the screen. So where are you having your problems, right? Is it poor qualification? Is it just a slow sales cycle? Are you having low sales conversions? Is it that outreach motion that is just, especially with the personalized outreach? We heard Nick talk about and reference like the personalization tokens not working. And that's a big challenge, right? The whole form letter approach to that outbound kind of BDR emotion sometimes it's proven difficult depending on the industry that we're in, some of the industries that we're in, and some of the markets that we're marketing to. They require a little bit more nuance. And in any event, we're seeing how AI can come in and kind of really breathe life into some of these areas where we've really had problems scaling or being more efficient again. So before we jump in, I do want to just kind of level set real quick in terms of, when we talk about agentic, what we mean by agentic AI, it's a spectrum, right? So it's real easy to get caught up in all the terminologies of the LLMs and the GPTs and the agentic and the agent and what's the difference. And what I want to just drive home here is that when you're hearing all these terms when it comes to agentic AI, it's really just, we're always talking about a spectrum. There's no like official definition. There's no industry of AI that's got like the holy grail answer. There's no single answer here. Dharmesh over at HubSpot and Agent.AI, he mentions that they think about it in terms of a spectrum. And so, and we agree with that. So to help give that a perspective here, if you see here on the screen on the left side, you've got like, solutions, that agentic solutions that are going to be like less agentic. And then on the right side, you've got things that are going to be more agentic. And what that means is like on the less agentic side, you're dealing, these are more simple, right? Much more simple, much more workflowy, sequenced steps of processes that an AI is incorporated into, but it's a lot more rule-based. You're dealing with solutions that are more predetermined. There's oftentimes there's more user control. The more user control there is, the less agentic it is. But again, it's a spectrum. It's not binary. Whereas on the right side, the more agentic solution or tool might be, an AI tool might be, is they are, sometimes they're handling a lot more ambiguous. They're able to handle a lot more ambiguous challenges where maybe you can describe the process broadly, but it's not so easy to just kind of be highly specific. That always helps, of course, but they're able to handle a lot more ambiguity, and they're able to do it, this is important, with a lot more autonomy. So the system has more autonomy in making decisions. And so this is just a diagram to kind of illustrate this to help drive it home. So like on the left, you see like an agentic workflow where it's very sequenced, right? It's step by step. It's we've got this LLM, so you can think about that as like a ChatGPT or some kind of model. Many of these types of tools that you can even go with like an Agent.AI and get access to and work into workflows there. But you've got steps. It's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Whereas on the right side with an agent, you're typically dealing with a system and a solution that where the AI is making decisions, is defining maybe like what it needs to do. So you say, hey, I've got an objective. I want to increase my sales. And then it's going to maybe determine what it needs to know. And then you can see, if you follow that bottom line, you can see coming out of defined task over to reflect, and it's going to reflect on its plan. And then it might decide to alter its plan. You're starting to see this kind of technology, a place where you can kind of see this in a very basic form. And I say basic, I mean, the technology is fantastic. But you see it when you hear reasoning models. This is kind of what's going on. There's some reflection process with reasoning models. So to drive that home, if you use ChatGPT and if you have a certain plans, you can activate what they call deep research. If you've heard that, there's a little bit of this flair happening in those circumstances. So this is what we see here is just an example of like where things are going, and really, again, going back to Sam's comment about like, just how fast things are moving. Actually, it's already here. We're starting to see situations where we're not just implementing agents for people, like custom agents, but where we're seeing that we've got agents managing other agents. And in some cases, I've seen back ends where we've got agents managing agents managing agents. So we've got like an ecosystem of agents working together to solve very complex business problems. So seeing is believing. I'm going to hand this off here to Mathieu, Grandmaître. Mathieu, we're so excited to see what you got here for us.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm excited to be here too. Okay, really quick, as an AI solutions architect, I get the question a lot. Where do I start with AI? And the problem in sales is that, like we've seen with Will, it seems like researching and prospecting feels like we have to be an FBI agent, and we often get ghosted after, delivering a great demo, and it seems like we have to balance 87 tabs and tools. And honestly, the biggest one, since they know that we automate with AI, is how can you help us deal with the crowd that just wants a proposal or to fill out RFPs? So the demo is about filling those RFPs. And I gotta be honest, for me, most of the work is soul sucking, and it's very repetitive. And we got a great demo to show you. I'm just curious, hey Nick, you've been in sales, and have you
Yes, sir.
filled out a few RFPs?
I sure have, Mathieu, and I'll testify on behalf of the group. Anybody who's gone after, institutional sales, enterprise sales, and so on, and even some smaller businesses, you're going to see some flavor of an RFP. And usually as reps, you have to put on your project manager hat. You're opening up spreadsheets to drop in the 15 different points that need to be answered, only 3 of which you can actually answer on your own. You need to now go sources, and every response seems to be a work of art. Jeanette Grant, other people, they can resonate with how soul sucking this effort has been, Mathieu. So yes, I testify. If you've got a solution here that you've helped clients out with, we're all ears.
Perfect. So we've prepped a demo. This is a simplified version, and I'll show everyone how we do it. Like, there's 3 steps to go about, but I just wanted to show you the demo first. So here I'm gonna add an ABC. So let's call it ABC company. So I just added a PDF. It's uploading, and let's add also XYZ company. This is an interface that I've created. This is an Airtable, but it could be HubSpot, it could be an Excel sheet, it could be any database. So the work that we have to do, okay, so we have this RFP filled out. Okay, there's a bunch of information, but here at SmartBug, what we have to do is, first step is kind of scoring it. So what I wanted to create is, for any sales rep, we need a company name, company location, what's the RFP needs, and when is the due date for this response. So I'm just gonna click here. Okay, so here is an automation that will get all that information. So right now what it's doing, it's going through the PDF, making sure that I get all the information. It's extracting exactly what I need. By the way, all the gray circles are agents. So right now you're seeing a custom solution. It's about chaining agents together. So imagine this is how you streamline soul-sucking repetitive tasks. So as soon as it hits the blue circle, we're gonna see this appear here. There you go. So it's ABC company. Oh, there you go. It flags. There's data missing. We don't know where the company is from. And here they want a virtual sales agent, a solution to automate their and scale their sales effort. Let's do the same thing, okay, with XYZ company, because you'll see the two differences. Now, the next step when we go through an RFP here is that, yes, okay, it's doable. We can deliver it. Now it's a past date, but let's say, oh, we have to deliver it in 7 days. It might be tight, but let's see if it's still interesting. So what it generated was potential red flags. So here, when it comes to CRM integration, there's no mention of a specific CRM integration. This is golden for the sales rep. But what's really interesting, let's have a look at XYZ. Okay, I'm just gonna look at the CRM. Okay, so it's unclear expectation around the CRM integration with HubSpot. So we know it's HubSpot integration. No discussion of compatibility with other potential system outside of HubSpot. Okay, so it's interesting. At least we have a comparison. So red flags this is golden for reps, but now our rep needs to have a call with the client. So every red flag has been turned into a potential question. So from here, our sales rep will call the client and say, which specific CRM system are you currently using? And by the way, all the call is recorded, and you'll see, like most of us do that, but you'll see the power of it later. Okay, so we have all this. This is good. It's perfect. So let's say you get a call. Well, I don't have a demo for this right now. We're building it, but we're going through the video and answering automatically all of those questions, because those questions need to be answered before going to the next step. And the next step for us is about filling a pre-sale analysis. This pre-sale analysis, basically what it does, it just puts all the relevant data for our team to scope it. So let's do this. And you can see there's so many elements to it. You'll see eventually, like at step 2 of our process, I'll show you later, but this usually takes between 2 hours to 3 hours. So I'm clicking here, and then this is the process. So like I've mentioned, okay, I get the problem. So here we have a little troubleshooting. So this is good.
I'll just say for my part, Mathieu, while you're pulling that up, is that this is already helpful, what you're showing. And I put this in chat because those of us who responded to a lot of RFPs know this is one of the first steps they usually put in the instructions. Review this thing thoroughly and let us know what questions you have. They might even do like a live webinar to do it, or there's a certain time to do it. And most of us will end up scrambling to ask those questions last minute, because we didn't have the time to analyze it on our own. We didn't have the time to phrase the flags as actual intelligent questions back to the issuer of the RFP. So everybody, every bidder, including your competition, is now all doing that last minute before the deadline, overwhelming the issuer of the RFP, ruining the experience for everybody involved. So the fact that this thing already within moments of you receiving the RFP can say, these are the questions you need to ask back, and you can get that back to them within the same day, is not only super efficient for everybody, but it's probably going to blow the mind of the RFP issuer, at least for the time being.
Yeah, thank you. So really quick, what happened is just I forgot to finalize my workflow, meaning that all the scraped data from the PDF from the RFP wasn't in there in the workflow. So here I'm creating the pre-sale. Look on the left, automatically as soon as this blue dot finishes, there you go. So right here, within a few seconds, all the data that I need for my internal team has been filled out in this document. So they know exactly, it's like, okay, who's the contact person? Well, there you go. This is a red flag, data is missing. We have the email of the company, but also what they want exactly from us, but also the history. So let's go back to really quick, the interface. So we did it for ABC company. So right here, we have all the data. And typically, we would answer to all questions based on that initial call, with the client. So data missing won't happen, but at least from there, you can see that it translates within minutes, we have all the data. So let's say we're interested in now creating the proposal. So let's say, okay, the team has approved, we have the budget, we have everything. Well, I'm going to add details of a sales rep. Shout out to Kelsey, a great colleague of mine, senior account executive here. And so I'm going to create the proposal based out of all the steps that we've seen. So your proposal could be in PandaDoc, it could be in Google site. For this example, we've just created a Google site. So as soon as this here is ready, you'll see on the left, generated the proposal. And before I show you, I just want to run automation because I want you to see the customization between XYZ and ABC. You'll see that everything can honestly be adapted because words matter. When it comes to sell, let's say company ABC wanted what did they want? They wanted an online booking virtual agent, and this is the exact word that they wanted. So we want to do the mirror effect. We might call it internally, we might call it a conversational booking agent, but for them, it's an online booking agent. So our percentage of closing the deal is higher. So there's here the pre-sale, we have ABC and XYZ. This is good. I just want to create the proposal. So here, closing date. Again, shout out Kelsey. And create the proposal. Usually it's all automatic, but I wanted to show you here the work in action.
And what you're showing us, just to set the context for everybody, is something that SmartBug has done and can do for clients. You help build these custom flows for clients who have to respond to a lot of RFPs. This isn't just something you do internally for yourselves.
Exactly. This is the most asked question I get, to be honest. And we've done a few.
Yeah.
Yes, the most painful step. So here's the example. Oh, sorry. So we have ABC, and then we have XYZ. I just want to show you the power of adapting the message. I know it's small, I'm sorry, but ABC company virtual sales assist agent. This is how they wrote it in their RFP. So here, and so we're naming it the same. And here, our intelligent virtual sales agent is powerful, is a powerful AI-driven solution designed to streamline ABC company's sales process. Okay, let's have a look at XYZ. They wanted a booking agent. So here, online booking agent. And the description, totally adapted. Our intelligent AI-driven scheduling assistant offers, now they call it, scheduling, we have to refine it. XYZ company, powerful solution to automate lead generation, follow-up, and blah, blah, blah. So imagine every element in there could be adapted to the company, to the specific company.
Could be a game changer for many companies on the line here today. Very powerful.
Yes.
We've got roughly 10, 12 minutes to go here. Mathieu, how are you feeling on your time and what you want to cover?
No, it's perfect. I'll just go quickly on how would we want, like, where do we start? Well, this is a very simplified 3-step, okay, that you could do your own and think about it. Because the main question you remember was, where do I even start with AI? Well, let's start with RFP. Most of it is hard. It's a long process. So here's all the steps that we have to do. So we get a HubSpot, then we have to put the document in a Google Drive, then we have to go through it, all the steps that I've showed you. So this is step 1, just documenting it. Then step 2, put a timer on it. So just going through the RFP, maybe it takes about two hours and more. Filling out that pre-sale takes about an hour. So you can see this is all the elements that we have to do. Now we could go through the Pareto rule, like the 80-20 and the effort versus value. But to simplify it, the step 3 is about finding the AI opportunity. So what I've showed you is, hey, let's streamline the work, and because AI is really good at scanning through documents. And then if we teach the agents, like you've seen the gray circles that I've showed you, well, it can output really great information. And so this is how, in this example, we saved here 3 hours, 4, 5, and 6 hours. But the thing is that every business has a unique a way of doing, a unique process. And just to go back to the poll, somebody mentioned that the time to implement is a risk. The thing is that if the AI solution is force-fitted in the business, meaning that you have to create a new habit, well, of course you don't have time. But with this example, it's following the exact steps of what you already do. And it's a matter of just clicking for step 1, 2, and 3. So this is how, when it comes to time to implement, there's less risks.
So our attendees could follow this 3-step process you just showed them, Mathieu, or you folks help clients go through that process if they don't want to or don't feel they could accurately do this themselves. You would assist them as clients, potentially?
Yeah, exactly. We call it a business process mapping and finding AI opportunities. Obviously, we go deeper, but this is an oversimplified version. So step 1, document your process. Step 2, calculate your time for every step, and then find the AI opportunity. The thing is that this part here, you need expertise, but think that AI is really good at automating your repetitive tasks. It's really good, to be honest. So we help you with identifying these opportunities. So just to go back to what Aaron mentioned, there's agentic workflow. That's the experience I've just showed you. But what about agent experience? What's happening right now, we're taking a step back, by the way, is that there's a ChatGPT effect on on everyone. So when it comes to our website, and for sales, you'll understand, is that on the left, we're used to scrolling and clicking on websites. But now with ChatGPT, we're seeing this context-aware conversational website, meaning that I don't want to have to work to have the information. I just want to chat with the interface, and the chat gives me the information I want based on my context, and I'll show you how we do it. And we're seeing this in e-commerce. So for this example, this person wants to get rid of their leaves. Well, this agent, okay, in the back, imagine in the back of this interface will provide you with the right product. Also, it'll provide you with the right upsell and cross-sell. Same thing goes for luxury products. Let's say bicycles, you need to test drive those products before. So right now, you can book directly from the interface. So forget the form that we're used to. The agent in the back, so the conversational website, will ask for your email, for your phone number, all of it, and then suggest the nearest location to test drive this product. The thing is that when I show this, most of them think about the bad experiences of chatbot. This is not an if-then logic. This is a conversational-based interface. Meaning for sales, what's really important is it can adapt and learn based on your conversation live. So it knows that, let's say you're in the decision phase of the awareness phase, you're in the decision phase, it'll quickly ask for an email. But what's really interesting, okay, what we see is that we have the conversational website, but as soon as it understands that you might be qualified, it'll go through the band. Like we train the agents in the back. So budget, authority, need, timing. It'll try to have all the information. Obviously, when it comes to budget, sometimes it might be hard, but at least for your sales team, this is a shortcut to qualify the leads. And then in the back, what we can do is, let's go back to the RFP automation. Well, we then can create AI workflows in the back. So let's say based on client details and past conversation from this interface, we can automate a sales sequence. Obviously, you can do that in HubSpot. You can do that with Agent.AI or a custom solution. It all depends on how precise you want the output. And I recommend, honestly, if you want to know more about a custom AI solution, to watch our marketing, Agentic AI on marketing. We go a bit deeper on why would you want a custom AI solution, and also the questionnaire that Nikki created with Agent.AI. We're already seeing this across industries, like I've mentioned, e-commerce, but also online booking. You can book online, no need for forms. Everything's from the conversational interface, even service-based, education. I think I saw a comment, hey, I want to create an agent for education. Well, there you go. This is the conversational interface that's really interesting for education. We're already doing it. We've done it. And for sales, here's the metric. After 6 months of implementing it, we're seeing 50% more bookings. So this is very, very interesting. How was it, Nick?
It was excellent, Mathieu, and,
Okay.
and you addressed something I think is very important that we all have heard as part of the HubSpot community when we talk about trends and what's possible. Well, does it work for B2B? Does it work for B2C? You know, everybody, rightly so, we look for exceptions as to why it may not apply to us. You've just shown us, doesn't matter what type of business you're in, people want quick answers and personalized support instantly and without a lot of fluff. And you folks are providing that. It's just amazing. And I want folks to know, that's why I keep harping on, it doesn't matter if you don't quite understand how to do what Mathieu just described. The fact is it's doable. SmartBug is here to talk to you about it at no charge, starting right now, as well as consultation calls, workshops that they're planning. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And if you want to outright just have them do it for you, get it done and be accountable for it, give you the readouts, you know, do all that, they're available, you know? So I just think that's powerful. Whatever flavor that you want, that you can afford, or wherever you're at, HubSpot, Agent AI, SmartBug, here to help you. So questions for these folks, for Aaron and Mathieu, please, they are here to, they've just shown you literally the last mile, how you actually implement and can tie in HubSpot features plus third-party agent AI driven features plus custom built flows and things like that. Any questions if you want to just try to poke at a little bit? Is this for real? Could this work for us? Otherwise, we're getting positive feedback and some good responses here, Mathieu and Aaron, for what you showed. Another super insightful and impactful demo. Thank you. So folks, stick around because we're not done with this series. If you liked what you saw what we showed you in marketing the last time, you're seeing what's possible now in sales a little bit more. There's more to come here, folks. So why don't we go to our next slide? Mathieu and Aaron, really appreciate you giving us that look under the hood, taking us into the lab of what you're brewing up over there. And if folks have questions for you, please let them know. Please let these guys know in chat. Now, what do we have for all of you folks? The folks who stuck it out, you've stayed with us in this series, you've stayed here till our final minutes. We appreciate that. And now you get the glory, you get the prizes. So every single one of you, including the folks who had to log off, we're wrapping up just a couple minutes, have already been entered into a chance to win 20 hours of AI consulting with SmartBug. Do you think you could probably get some of this stuff done, what Mathieu just showed us? You know, Nikki talked about she built her agent in like an hour. So 20 hours, what could be possible for your organization and what would the impact be? Also, I alluded to this and you saw Aaron and Mathieu nodding enthusiastically here. You can book a meeting to talk about this. Just talk about your vision. Is this possible? Right, Aaron? I'm not making this up, right? You would be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
They just want to talk. They just want to help. Don't you understand? So definitely take advantage of that, folks. You just don't get that every day. Mathieu, you're endorsing this offer is legit as well?
Yes, and caution, I geek about this stuff, so we might exceed the timing. If you
It
book
might
at
get
30
super
minutes,
nerdy.
it might
It
go
might get
to
nerdy.
35 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna need to
But-
bring a notepad and that type of thing. Bring a glass of water. And also, we've got an AI building workshop. We talked about that. Nikki Kamau just dropped that into the chat. Okay, sign up and join SmartBug and Agent.AI and build your own agent. And again, test it out, test the waters. That's coming up. There's the chat here, and then look, you also see the CTAs in chat. These are all coming your way in a follow-up email, but we want you to have your hands on these right away as we close out. And then what's also coming for you, in addition to these resources, in addition to the SmartBug team making them available, is the final chapter of this 3-part series is coming up, folks. So mark your calendars. If you thought this was good, we continue to build on this. What we have coming up is Agentic AI in service. We don't talk nearly enough about this. This is tip of the spear, cutting edge type stuff. How does all this apply on the services, the post-sale side, for the upsell, for the renewal, for the extension, for the expansion, to get the case studies, to get the referrals, to get the reviews? There's so much value and so much work to be done post-sale in sustaining your customers and keeping them around and turning them into a workforce for you. We're going to talk about that. We're bringing HubSpot back, a different go-to-market leader there. We're going to bring Sam back. We're bringing Mathieu and the gang back from SmartBug. It's going to be awesome. April 16th, 1 p.m. Eastern, similar time, similar day of the week. Mark your calendars. I will be there to help us for the dramatic conclusion of this 3-part series to get to this most important part of the life cycle. Can't win without customers here, folks. So hopefully you enjoyed it. You had a good time. I want to thank our speakers who came on and shared and gave today and interacted with you today. Will Hughes, Senior Product Manager from HubSpot. Yes, let's get these emojis going for these guys. They volunteered their time to help give some free advice and inspiration to you. Sam Mallikarjunan, General Manager over at Agent.AI. And of course, we just heard from Aaron Lyles, Demand Gen Manager, and Mathieu, Grandmaître, AI Solutions Architect. Thank you to all of you for all that you have shared with us to help us all improve our bottom line and drive more revenue using best-of-breed technology at our fingertips. Much of it free, much of it already at our fingertips in the tools that we've already bought or owned or have access to. Very exciting. Thank you all so much for participating. And with that said, folks, that's our show. We want to thank you again so much. You've got one single CTA, which is go check your inbox as soon as possible. Look for the SmartBug, in the subject line, or rather from the, sent from section of your email. We've got some goodies coming your way. I am your host and MC for the series, Nick Salvatoriello, formerly of HubSpot Academy, longtime friend of the HubSpot partner ecosystem, big fan of SmartBug and what they do. Wishing you all a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you all again on April 16th for Chapter 3, all about Agentic AI and service. Thanks again, gang, so much.